If I win, there will be little girls who might start to believe they have a place in the world.
We're black. We're not going to be Miss World.
Misbehaviour focuses on just one aspect of Jennifer's life, a very small aspect. I mean, it had a great impact, but it's not the Jennifer Hoston story. It's not, you know, it's specifically around the event of Miss World in 1970. So, yeah, I got to meet her. I actually suggested we meet in Grenada, which was really fun. I wasn't sure if she was going to take me up on it. But she was game, and I went with my mum, and she brought her daughter, and she gave us a tour of the island, which was amazing. And, you know, along the way I got to listen to her accent and, you know, just ask her questions and hear stories of the event and her perspective on it and everything. And it was just really enriching to have that time with her and to build a relationship with her so that I felt like I could ask her anything I needed. You know, and in terms of being her, I mean, it was really special. I think because we'd spent that time together as well, she even lent me one of the dresses that she wore in the real competition, this gold sort of crocheted sort of gown that had sort of trousers and then a sort of crocheted sort of beaded top. I mean, it was very unusual, and she kept it all these years and sent it to our costume designer in a shoebox in London. And you know, with a couple of alterations and a few things, I was able to wear it in the film. So that really imbued me with a sense of, wow, she really wore this dress. You know, I think that you can't sort of mistake how special it is to sort of have that energy, and also in some ways, you know, her blessing.
But I'm just saying what everybody else wants me to say.
'Cause your mama's name was Sloan.
Can you look at me for a second?
'Cause you never loved.
No, wait! Hey, look at me! I see you.
Gosh, there were so many challenges, but I loved that. You know, I loved the transformation. And I think, you know, obviously there's the superficial elements of the hair and the makeup for you know, the Noni sort of pop star character. But I think what I loved was that I got to shed all of that, you know, in the same role. You know, I think sometimes you get the glamorous role, or you get the more raw, you know, no makeup role. And this character sort of had it all. She had the whole gamut. You know, I mean, it was challenging, you know, just the stamina of doing the rehearsals and working on a music producer's schedule, which is very different to a film schedule. You know, just music happens often at night and, you know, different hours, and filming often starts, you know, with military precision very early in the morning. So that was kind of an adjustment. But, you know, and the costumes themselves were quite challenging to wear, you know, and just the physicality and owning that sort of sexual sort of ferocity, you know, in the dancing and everything that you know, is part of Noni's persona was a challenge, but it was really fun.
Want to marry me instead? Just, Greg seems great, but why not someone you've connected with?
Well, I think everybody tells me it's the only sort of Black Mirror episode that is sort of optimistic and hopeful. And, you know, I mean, Charlie Brooker is such a genius. You know, all of the concepts that he comes up with, every episode could be a movie or could be its own TV show. I mean, they're just such brilliant, prophetic, you know, sort of terrifying ideas that he has for the world. And and I think, you know, I think there's also the nostalgia of the 80s that everybody has, you know, that music, the clothes, and just a love story, I think, at its heart, you know, just really with these characters. And, you know, my character Kelly, just so vivacious and fun-loving, and, you know, just the idea of mortality, I think, as well, is something that's just so universal. And, you know, love that transcends time. And I don't know, I just think that there's a lot there that just kind of works on you in your soul, you know, and how old is your soul, and all of those questions that I kind of love, you know, about the show.
7 Gelfling from each clan. That is the request you made of my mother, and I shall honor it. Volunteers to serve as you see fit. A small price to pay for a new age of peace.
The episodes were filmed already, actually, and the way it works with animation, there are different processes. Some types of animation, you do the voice first and then they animate around the voice. But with the Jim Henson puppeteers, they're such artists in themselves. They had already filmed all of that. So you're sort of doing the voice to what's already created, which is in a way more technical. Not to spoil it for anyone, but as an actor, there's certain things that have already been set in place, that you're bringing life to. So yeah, it was kind of challenging, I have to say, on a technical level. And we were able to see everything before, and they sent me this massive sort of Bible of the Dark Crystal, in the mail that, I just had everything on the original and all the imagery and everything just to sink my teeth into.
Sexpionage always works.
Did you just say the word sexpionage?
What does sexpionage even mean?
Oh.
Someone's a little too good at sexpionage.
Okay, you're very crazy.
Loco.
In some ways, it's a bit of a blur, because it was really, a baptism of fire for me, because it was my first job in America, my first TV show, my first lead role. Before that, I just, I'd done TV in the UK, but I think doing network television, in LA was just such a culture shift for me. And, J.J. Abrams, directing the pilot, producing the show, and the ambitions of the scope of the show, every episode we were in a different country, even though we didn't leave LA, and there was action and different accents. And huge fond memories, actually, and I've been reflecting on it, recently, I think, as well, just thinking about, 2020 being such a unusual year, and looking back at 2010, and just that was a big shifting year for me as well, in a very different way. But yeah, I'm so glad to have done it, and it really did set me up for everything else to come. It really is about women finding their power, and finding this power deep within them that actually has always been there, but they just didn't know how to harness it, or they were afraid of it. And I think, now more than ever, I hope that young women watch it and feel empowered by it and uplifted. And, even though a character like Ruth has had her struggles, and she's flawed, and, she's not a great mother, and she's been scared of her, of how powerful she really is. I think there is, there's such a solidarity in those women, there's 3 generations of women that they need to come together in order to really rise. And so yeah, I hope that people will still kind of get some inspiration from it.
He has much to recommend him, and a second fortune in life should please any wife. Dido, you are not to be a coquette with him. You already have your fortune.
One does not make a wife of the rare and exotic, Oliver.
I think growing up on Jane Austen adaptations and Dickens adaptations at home in the UK, so many period dramas that we make, and I'd never seen myself in them, literally. And to be able to know that this was a real story, that this wasn't somebody doing colorblind casting or any kind of imposing any extra concept onto it, but like Belle really existed, and there was a painting about her, and this is part of our history. And just to be able to show that perspective, I think, was really, really special. And the fact that Amara Sante wanted her to be such a nuanced character, and that it was complex, that she was dealing with not just issues of race, but class and gender, and all of those things that, are still very prevalent today, in her sort of being able to feel comfortable in her own skin and in her society, and the difference between, I guess, how you see yourself and what the world endows upon you, and those are always kind of themes that we talked about in the film. So yeah, and again, a beautiful romance, a sumptuous, a different English rose, if you like, and that to me was always really, really, really special to be a part of.
Yeah. Welcome, Your Majesty. I am Titus Abrasax, third primary of the House of Abrasax.
Famulous, your role. You've got horns and ears, and I just kind of wondered.
I have ears. I kept the ears.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Ears. Yeah, I have them somewhere in a box. I mean, they used to throw them away every day.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd be like, what are you going to do with those? And they're like, well, you know what, because once they unglue them, you can't glue them back on, you know. So they'd have several of them, and so they would just chuck them, and I was like, I'm keeping these.